Okay, hi all. Welcome to my sx64 desktop. Okay, the thing with this machine is that I I bought like another sx64 with some working parts. Basically, I ended up stripping most of it out over the years to power my other one to keep it going. I was left pretty much with the case. I sold what was left apart from the NTSC monitor, which, as you may know, has got valves in it. So sending it back to the US or Canada would have been a bit of a risk. So I chucked it. So, as you may know, the sx64's monitor is actually just like basically an old TV, and it's, well, long as the case, about this long. So what I thought is that I could do, I'd been a bit annoyed with the sx64 because it's like lack of tape support. So I thought, why not try to put a 64 inside an sx64 case. I originally started with the old Commodore 64, which is a longboard. So when you go to put it in, it comes out to about there. It's too big, even if you cut the corners. So I tried next with a C64C board, and I managed to fit it in. And actually the corners, it's sitting diagonally at the top of the machine with its corners cut, like that, just so it fits in. But it does fit, and it's okay. And yeah, that's basically how I got started. I started off by replacing the power supply with a PC power supply to drive the Commodore 64, the disk drive, and the amplifier. The amplifier had to be from new, so I got myself a 15 watt per channel one, which is like extremely loud. And I got myself a PC speaker, and it's like somewhere here, pointing inwards. As you know, the Commodore 64 is mono, so there's no need for stereo sound. Yeah, so I've got the power supply. I drove the amplifier, the 64, the 1541, this little fella here, the SD2 IEC, and then the thing was, it's like on the sx64 you have the cartridge port sticking out the top, which I don't really like because you can't put a monitor on the sx64 unless you mount it quite far back. Looks a bit stupid. Like this, it's like a desktop, you know. So I moved the cartridge port, which is a huge amount of work. I moved it to here. So in the moment I've got a final cartridge in there. You can see that it's working there. That's like the freeze menu. There's the monitor. And yeah, it works with pretty much any cartridge. The only thing you've got to consider is you've got to have your buttons here. I wasn't bothered about that because I only own a final cartridge 3. I mean, you could always move the buttons, I suppose. The 1541, that's been realigned with a screwdriver and some software. It works absolutely fantastic. This little TFT here, it's only this thin. It's a bit of a difference from a huge TV. And it was supposed to work on 50 Hertz, but it only works on 60 in colour. So there's two little converter boxes in there, and if I kill the power, I've just got this set up on a remote control because I removed the switch from the back. If I turn the unit on, you see that it takes a bit to come on, and it'll go black, and then finally it'll come on. So there you go. Everything's hooked up at the back. As I say, I've the user port on the sx64, which sticks out the back. I actually used a Dremel and I sawed it down to the correct size for one of these, so it looks exactly like the port for a C2N. Everything's colour coded too. I took this Well, originally I had the keyboard for the sx64. I needed the keyboard membrane out of it, so as you can guess, I was knackered without that. I'll stop shaking that for a minute. So I had this old Commodore 64 case keyboard. Ran a couple of extensions and put it on the. It actually runs through the top where the old cartridge port was. Show you that later. Yeah, so what I did next was I went to B&Q, that's in the UK, DIY place. They do colour matching for you. So I took down the keyboard and I used this little machine and colour matched some paint for me, and I painted a case of the keyboard. And I did the same with the C2N. So it looks pretty good. I mean, it's alright, you know. Considering what it was before, the main work was the design, because everything's bolted down in there and screwed down. This, I mean, that's got massive bolts in it. I can't even move it like 1mm. This, it's the same. It's notched as well, so it sits in. So even if that ever came loose, it still sits in. It could never come out, and you can always get your cartridge in there. It moves, well, if I risk it a little bit, it moves like the back of a sx64 cartridge port only. You know, you can wiggle the cartridge a little bit, can't you? It's a bit crazy, but yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, it's been a lot of work. It took probably 3 months to build. I'm missing the plastic bits out the side here, which is a shame. Maybe I can do something about that. But I've decided to sell it on anyway, and yeah, I'm not selling this with it. You can get any 14-inch TV, or if you want, you can put it in your TV cabinet and hook it up to your massive telly if you want. It's just, you know, it's just a composite, yeah? And it carries the audio as well, so don't worry about that. Not that you'll need it, because when when you turn up the speakers on this thing, it's pretty incredible.